filthy animal.
Boys and girls, welcome. Gosh, you caught me at a bad time. My apologies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything But the Cats, the only show. I'm DJ.
And I'm Gage.
And Gage and I, as you guys already know, because we're famous by now, 2 months from now-ish, less than that, we're on a quest to become famous by doing one thing. We don't really care about becoming famous. Honestly, life is so much simpler if we don't become famous. But we're on a quest to do one thing, which is to talk about every single thing with the exception of... I can't even bring myself to say it. But if you read our title, read the name of our podcast a few times, you'll figure it out if you're clever. Let us know in the comments what you think we're not going to talk about. Anyways, like I said, I'm DJ. That's my buddy Gage. We've been friends since high school. Technically, I mean, we've known each other since middle school, but someone was a real Scrooge about his birthday party invites in 8th grade. Hint, it was Gage. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. It is Christmas time, as you guys have probably gathered. We're both wearing our sweaters, and it is currently October. What does your calendar say, Gage?
Yeah, my calendar says October of 2025.
It's October. But we are here, and we're ready for Christmas because we love it. We're excited for baby Jesus, and I'm excited for what Gage is going to teach me because it's something Christmassy.
So, DJ, what do George Washington, some 13th century monks, and a riot in the 1800s all have in common?
Okay, so I know this is Christmassy. I'm like 90% sure it's food related. This is toenail clippers. I'm 90% sure it's food related. They were all utterly and completely devoted to fruitcake.
Okay, that's not right.
Cool.
It's actually a, well, we'll get into it.
Yeah. Surprise me.
So we're going to talk about something Christmassy that you, the listener or viewer, probably already know.
Figgy pudding.
At this point, that these three people, groups, things all have in common.
False teeth.
And it begins with a cold. So, DJ, what do you do when you get a cold? Like when you just get, like the seasonal cold?
So before I was a father, it depends how much PTO I have, is really the question. If I've got like 2 weeks of PTO, then I stay home, I make a day of it, I'm gonna kind of shiver in bed, and, fever's gonna feeve. That's what I'll do. If I'm kind of limited on PTO, say I've got like a week left to last 6 months or whatever, then I can't waste it on something small like that. So I'm gonna go work with the sniffles and a fever. Yeah. If when I do stay home, because I'm sure that's more in line with what the question is meant to be. When I do stay home, I'm pretty well. Okay, so it's different being a father versus not being a father. Not being a father, essentially, you stay home, and then most of the time you don't have energy. And when you do have energy, you like play video games, watch a YouTube video, whatever. Like the first time I had COVID, I was home by myself for like 10 days, and I was sick like all 10 of those days. And I would watch about 5 minutes of a YouTube video and then be too exhausted to do anything, like to keep watching. So I'd pause it, take like a 30-minute nap, wake up, repeat, and just like slowly over the course of 3 hours watch like this 20-minute YouTube video. And that's high life with the cold. That's living it up with the cold. Now as a dad, like essentially we're pretty limited on screen time. So it's essentially, I was actually just sick with like a stomach bug, and I just laid on our recliner all day and fell asleep when my body chose to, which was a lot. So.
Okay. Do you like have any home remedies that you've used before? Like not medicine per se, but like we talked about a few weeks ago with the fall episode, like hot toddies and stuff like that. People have their home remedies or their like wives' tale remedies and stuff for that kind of stuff. My dad he swears by putting Vicks in your socks.
I do love Vicks. I love the smell of Vicks.
Yeah.
If I could,
Menthol.
eucalyptus.
Is it not
If
menthol?
I could, I'm pretty sure it's eucalyptus. Googling it. What is the Vicks smell? It's menthol. I'm so embarrassed.
Jamie, look that up. That's a Joe Rogan reference.
Okay. Oh, that's because you're bald.
Yeah.
Okay, but this says, yes, this is AI. Yes, eucalyptus has a similar smell to Vicks.
So eucalyptus smells similar to menthol.
Apparently. Yeah.
Apparently.
Anyways, I love the smell of Vicks. All that to say, I like I don't huff things, but I could. Or like honestly, like if I could choose, if Hinduism were real and I could choose, like I could live the best possible life to be reincarnated as like what I want to be, I would be the best Hindu so that I could be resurrected as a koala because those guys eat eucalyptus.
And they have
Think.
chlamydia.
And they have chlamydia. So really win-win.
There's a reference about Theo Von seeing koalas at a zoo or in Australia one time when he was visiting, and someone said, "Hey, you better be careful around them. They've got chlamydia." He's like, "They better be careful around me. I got something too."
That's funny. So I almost made a similar joke, but it's like I'm not gonna make a joke like that.
But yeah, okay. So home remedies, though, right? There are plenty of them.
Sure.
I personally don't really use a lot unless you count putting Vicks in your socks.
I feel like we're like just the right age to not, because like we're like, you can argue, are we millennial, are we Gen Z?
Yeah.
But like I feel like there's Gen Z that's like a lot more into like the mystic, spiritual, home remedy type stuff, and then our parents' generation that like, because their parents' generation was like into that stuff, is like also into that stuff, and then you've got us kind of here in the middle, like, what is that? What are you doing?
Why are you putting beets in your pillowcase? I don't know if that's a real one, but yeah. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about an old, by old I mean like before the 10th century, probably, most likely, home remedy for colds. It was never used for anything serious, but it was used for like, just your basic cold, basic stuff like that. And it's called Passet. Have you ever heard of Passet? So Passet is pretty simple. We could make it up today if we wanted to. I'd have it's early medieval period. So it's a medieval cold remedy. What you would do is you would boil milk and you would mix it with wine or ale so that it would curdle, and spice it with cinnamon or nutmeg, and you would serve it hot.
So hot eggnog.
There were no eggs in what I just said.
But I'm on to you already, Gage. I made eggnog recently.
You made your own?
I did. I didn't include alcohol.
Yeah.
Because
I was waiting to take a sip of this.
Have at it. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back. But this is just store-bought, what I'm about to grab.
What brand? What brand?
A Southern Comfort.
That's what I'm drinking right now. It's my least favorite.
Same. I prefer Highland, but this time of the year they only have like the Halloween stuff, which I don't think is a different recipe, but I don't want...
Something feels wrong about it.
Exactly. Like I assume it's going to be orange or something. Yeah. And it's not like vanilla spice or whatever. It's just like the regular...
This is just Southern Comfort.
Man, I'm going to go get mine. We'll be drinking the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
How fun. But I did make my own eggnog recently because I couldn't wait for the season.
I love it.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm sorry I saw through it immediately. I want you to know I love this episode idea, Gage.
It's fine. It's fine. It was going to be so hard to keep a secret for much longer than where we are.
Yeah. You boil milk and you put nutmeg in it. Yeah,
I did. Nut milk.
You get nut. I did make eggnog recently, and it turned out a bit too eggy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure it turned out the proper amount of eggy. But
we may talk about that in a little bit, actually. So, cheers.
Sweet. I also watered mine down with milk. Usually I don't, but this year it was just like it was too much for me. I've been eating a bit healthier this year,
Mm,
so I think it was a bit much for me. I also just had a blizzard at Dairy Queen.
that's fair. That's fair.
So,
Okay, so yeah, we're talking about eggnog, which started out as posset, P-O or P-A, P-A-S-S-E-T. Like I said, you would boil milk, mix it with wine or ale to curdle it, spice it with cinnamon or nutmeg, and serve it hot. It was supposed to help with colds and things along those lines. It was pretty common, mostly for people who were a little bit more noble in Europe. Um, and
spices are hard
then,
to come by.
well, spices, but also at the time, like, so we have this idea in America of like the plentiful amounts of like cattle and chickens that people can own, like eggs and milk
Sure.
being somewhat plentiful because most people were farmers back in the day. You know, it was
Yes.
very common. But
Yeah.
like in most of the late medieval period up until the period where we were putting people in America, those were things that were luxury items to most people, or at least you didn't have enough to make an eggy drink with pretty consistently if you were
Yeah.
especially someone who wasn't very financially well off. But yeah, so in the 13th century, there were monks who decided that they were going to try to improve the flavor of posset by adding eggs and figs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess so two things. One, don't I try not to disparage ancestors,
Yeah.
right? Like not for any like weird spiritual reason. Like Angela and I were talking on our way here, way back from Dairy Queen, and sometimes we just talk about like what life would be like or like what we would do if the other one died. Because sometimes you wonder, and it's like it's a good thing to have conversations about.
Mm-hmm.
And I just talked about like yeah, I'd never not I'd never remarry, but like my game plan would be to be a single dad because it just like sounds you know fun being single. I feel like I hit the jackpot the first time and it'd be the same level of stupidity as like or I hit the jackpot this time. And it'd be like the same level of stupidity of someone like winning the jackpot at the casino and being like,
Mm.
all right, I'm going to put it all on red again. So, like, just play it safe. And she was like, well, just so you know, like, it'd be okay if you change your mind, you meet someone really great and you decide to marry her. And what I didn't say in that moment was like obviously you're dead. Like, of course it's fine if I change my mind. What are you going to do about it? So very very like kind of limited amount of like worrying about like the opinions of ancestors or whatever, but I try not to disparage them because a lot of the stuff that they did like it's like why did they do that, and then you realize like based on the culture and like stuff like that, like it made sense for them to not eat pork because pork was harder to get the bacteria out of or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. What stupid idiot noticed that they had congestion, just like some phlegm built up in their chest and like their lungs and their throat. And was like, I should make milk thicker and then drink that.
Well, so it's probably been long known that like certain alcohols are actually good for like when you have a cold or when you have a certain type of stomach bug or something, can help
Sure.
settle it or help you to like clear your sinuses or something like that. Like hot toddies, that's what they are. It is a thing where it's like just helping clear your sinuses in a way because of the alcohol and spices mixed together. Wonder if they were just thinking of ways to stretch it out or make it more palatable, and that's what they came to somehow. But the idea is that the alcohol curdles the milk. I don't like drinking curdled milk.
Have you done it much?
Yes. So
I
alcohol
sorry.
curdles milk. So does like apple cider,
Mm.
non-alcoholic apple cider. And I tried to make an apple cider latte when I worked at the coffee shop, and it tasted fine, but
But
it
you could feel it.
definitely curdled the milk.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not a fan of that. I've also had
Yeah.
like yogurt soda before, and that's what it is. It's curdled
Yeah.
milk with seltzer water.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's what they did is they decided to add eggs and figs. The figs is interesting to me also. Figgy pudding. Do you know why it's called figgy pudding? This is not related to the episode, but I learned this the other day.
Because who stuck in his thumb and pulled out a plum?
Jack Horner?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Because little Jack Horner
Sat in a
one
corner.
day sat in the corner, stuck his thumb in, pulled out a plum, and they're like, well,
Yeah.
I guess that's figgy.
So, pudding was a general term used to
Yeah.
describe a dessert, not necessarily what we consider pudding today. And it's just like a figgy dessert. Yeah. Less cool than it sounds. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so like I say, this is a drink for the wealthy and was typically even reserved for special occasions. Sherry was almost always the alcohol that was used at this point until the 1700s. Now, at this time, it was not referred to as eggnog still. It was almost always referred to still as posset or some other form similar to that. What happened in the 1700s?
The Revolutionary War, baby.
America.
USA. Let's go. Land of the
S-
Nog. Home of the egg.
Egg. So, like I said earlier, in Europe, where the drink was commonly had, eggs, milk weren't quite as plentiful as they were, and the alcohols typically used were a little more expensive as well. However, in the Americas, there were three things that were pretty plentiful. One was milk, one was eggs, and the other was Jamaican rum.
Jamaican rum. I was going to guess moonshine.
That was a little bit later. But yeah, so they were much more readily available, much cheaper than they were over in Europe. And so by this time, the recipe became something that was much more commonly had by people. The recipe included eggs, milk, cream, spices such as cloves and vanilla, and it was, this is the exact wording, it was fortified with rum, whiskey, and or brandy.
Fortified.
Fortified. Now, the alcohol originally was partially to actually help keep it sanitary because salmonella and all that jazz. Maybe they didn't know that like precisely, but that was part of helping keep it from going bad. Now, this is where eggnog is officially born, is in the 1700s. Do you know where the name, or do you have any guess for where the name eggnog comes from?
Okay, so I have a solid guess for the first three letters.
Yeah.
It contains eggs, and if you make it probably the right way, if you make it the right way, it has a pretty eggy taste to it. Very custardy taste to it is a thing that I've learned through experience. Nog, so it's interesting. I've always like because I know nutmeg is one of the spices in
Mm-hmm.
eggnog. Like my brain always just assumes that like nog and nutmeg mean the same thing, but like there's no reason for that. So I'm gonna create a dumb theory. You would drink some, and like it's really good stuff. So you're like, you've had a few, you've kind of lost count how many you've had, and your friend comes up to you and you're like, "Are you drunk? Have you need to slow down?" And you're like, I'm not drunk. Knock on wood. And so because of that, it became called egg nog.
Okay. So, no.
Okay, worth a
I
try.
love the guess, though. I love the guess, though. So Nog, there's no clear consensus on this, by the way. Like each of these theories, quote unquote, that I'm about to present
Yeah.
has actual factual basis for why it could be the answer. That's why they still exist as theories. Nog was potentially a name for a specific type of beer. There was also grog, which was a specific type of alcoholic beverage that it could have been, a fusion of egg and grog, and they came with eggnog, nog as well. There were these wooden cups that people would use specifically for drinks like eggnog back in the day called noggins.
Well, that's got to be it.
And so it could be a mixture of any of those. And it could be all of those for why we call it eggnog.
Yeah.
And then egg
I
for obvious
sorry.
reasons.
So I did just Google it as well, and I feel like the internet. So Wikipedia seems to lean into nog meaning strong ale, but
Mm.
I assume that like Like, I would be curious whether the cup or the drink was named first.
Yeah.
Because absolutely one was named after the other.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think no matter which of those it is, it comes from the same word. There's with my complete lack of like etymology study, there's my theory.
So on the etymology, one time I was in Estes Park, Colorado in November of 2021.
Hey Gage, have you ever gone to Estes Park, Colorado?
Twice.
Have you ever been?
Yeah.
You should mention that on the air sometime, Gage. Just kidding.
This is like the second time I've been.
It's like the second, maybe third.
Maybe third.
And we've done almost 100 episodes.
We did an episode entirely on Estes Park, and it came up a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm just being a chotch to be funny, not because I think you should stop talking about Estes Park. So please tell your story, Gage.
Yeah, no. So in Estes Park, November of 2021, I went to this restaurant that our friend Caleb Ross recommended. By the way, he still listens. He's just a bit behind. So Caleb, you'll probably hear this in like February. I don't know.
Also, Hayden.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, months ago, we mentioned a friend of ours. No need to name drop. We told a story and said that he sold his car to go to the Super Bowl and needed to catch a ride there and then like watch from the parking lot. And we were wrong. It was two separate stories. The first story, let me pull this up real quick. So sorry to detract from the nog. I just remembered.
He did say he wanted to come on and correct it himself as long as we just made a quick mention that we were wrong.
Boom, bam, bop.
Yeah, we were wrong. He will be back to explain in more detail both of those stories. But yeah,
cool. Caleb,
we were there. He recommended a specific restaurant we went to. It was really good. The food was great, and it was late November, so they had like Christmas themed stuff. Which, by the way, Colorado with a little bit of snow during Christmas season is one of the most beautiful things. Genuinely, it's like a Hallmark movie.
I believe it.
Specifically that area. But they had on their like menu something called beer nog, which now that I'm thinking about it, etymology wise, is like beer, kind of
beer
potentially
cup.
Technically beer cup, beer ale, and it was bad. It looked like they were pouring motor oil into it. It was really bad. I had like a sip of it. I had more than a sip because I'm stubborn when I buy stuff.
Man,
but
2021. Yeah. Was it that long ago?
Yes.
That you went to Estes Park?
The second
time? Last time you went there?
Yeah. 4 years.
See how time works.
I know, it moves.
Yeah.
Smash Mouth was right when they said the years start coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah. Man.
Anyways. Beer nog, not good.
Yep.
So good. we're in the 1700s and people have, there are like homemade recipes, right? People are just there's a general consensus of some of the ingredients of what is in eggnog, but everybody kind of has their own spin on it at this time. And even today, if you try to find recipes, people have their own spins on it. What makes it more authentic? What makes it taste less like you're drinking an omelet? Stuff along those lines. And
so, sorry.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that Southern Comfort is your least favorite. I agree. What is your favorite? I like Highland. Who do you have in the area? What do you like?
So far in the area, all I've found is Southern Comfort and Prairie Farms. I haven't tried the Prairie Farms yet. I think I'm not the biggest fan of Southern Comfort. It's kind of growing on me now. Like, this is my second glass of it. I'm kind of liking it now.
Yeah.
But Darigold is my favorite.
Okay, never had it.
It's really good. I highly recommend it. There was one other brand that I don't remember what it was, but I think Justin Christensen loved this other brand. And
I believe it.
I think I remember us having a conversation about it at school because I had a mini fridge and I definitely got eggnog every Christmas season.
Sure.
But yeah, that's my favorite, Darigold. What's you said yours is Highland.
Yeah, but like that's because I've had limited experience. Like my list of eggnogs is Southern Comfort, like that I've had, is Southern Comfort, Highland, and like Bailey's maybe. And so it's like Bailey's Southern Comfort.
Yeah. If you get a chance to find some Darigold, I'd recommend trying it. You might enjoy it. And if I find some Highland, I'll try it. But I'm pretty sure
Huh.
like the version of Highland that we have in the South is Prairie Farms. Like
That makes sense.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
And I refuse to try the Kroger brand.
Okay.
Anyways, they do make really good French onion dip though.
So if it were onion nog, you'd give it a try.
Oh yeah.
Great.
So we're gonna look at a specific historical person's recipe for eggnog.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of George Washington?
I've heard of George Washington. Invented peanut butter.
Exactly. Yeah, so George Washington, our first U.S. president. This is his recipe for eggnog. You mix 1 pint of brandy with a half a pint of rye whiskey, with a half a pint of Jamaican rum, with a quarter pint of sherry. Set that aside. That's your
Don't
drink
look
for
at
while
it.
you're getting ready.
Is that what it says?
No,
That's really
but
funny.
you do kind of set it aside.
Yeah.
Then you get a dozen eggs and you separate the yolk and the whites of the eggs. With the yolks, you beat them. You add 12 tablespoons of sugar. You slowly beat. While you're doing that, you add the quart of cream and the quart of milk and continue to stir. Then, separately, like I said, you beat the egg whites until they are stiff and then fold them into the mixture.
Interesting.
Once you have done that, you mix the liquor into it and you chill for several days, tasting regularly.
By the end of day 6, it's gone. It's like, oh, it's about ready.
So that is George Washington's recipe for
Man,
eggnog.
so much harder to chill stuff back then.
Yeah,
I
that's why there was all the alcohol in it.
That's fair. That makes sense. That's why.
Yeah, that's
No,
why.
I like. So I'm pretty sure the recipe I did didn't call for the egg whites.
Hmm.
Or didn't it maybe didn't call for the yolks. It didn't call for one of the components, pieces
Mm-hmm.
of egg, and I think we just ended up. We might have made. I think it didn't call for the egg whites, and we ended up making omelets with the egg whites. So it's fine.
Okay,
We still use them, but I would have loved to have had a recipe that did use the egg whites because that's simpler. Good job,
let's
George.
try George Washington's.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious how his it. Did you mention the spices?
I didn't mention the spices. The recipe I found had none listed. I assume you just spiced to taste.
That's fair. That makes sense. Just imagine eggnog, but with none of the spices.
Yeah, none of the spices, just the eggs and the liquor.
Just the eggs and the nog.
Yep. So yeah, that was his recipe. I half jokingly really wanted to try to make my own version of George
Yeah,
Washington's eggnog to be drinking during this, and I decided that would be a mistake. So,
that's fair. I do feel like you hear the alcohol and you're like, oh, crap, that's a lot. But then you hear the amount of the other ingredients and it's a bit less. Like it's more diluted for sure
it's
than
pretty
if it were just all
diluted,
that
but like
alcohol.
that's half alcohol.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's a good amount of
50%.
alcohol. Dude knew how to party.
He did, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Anyways, George
Anyways,
Washington.
George Washington. That's all I have on him.
Cool.
The next major thing though is the Eggnog Riot.
I love this.
Have you heard of the Eggnog Riot?
No, you mentioned. I feel like you mentioned where it was. Was it like Belgium or something?
I did not mention where it was. I mentioned when it was.
When it was? Okay,
It's
when was it?
the early 1800s. I think it was Christmas Eve and Christmas Day of 1826.
Okay, so that's like we've already resolved a bunch of our beef with the British, but like
Yeah.
based on how Americans dealt with tea stuff,
Mm.
like the Boston Tea Party and stuff like that, the tea taxes and all that. And like stamps, we really care about stamps. I wouldn't be
Mm.
surprised if like there was some sort of eggnog riot where Britain tried to tax our whiskey, tried to tax our whiskey around Christmas time and we were like, our eggs aren't going to nog themselves, jerks, and then revolted.
I'm pretty sure whiskey. No, I'm thinking of bourbon. Bourbon is an American thing. I think
I
whiskey's
mean,
American.
I think so. Yeah, yeah, but like if it's like the 17, you
18,
know,
1820s.
yeah, I know. But like if we were in
Okay.
this, if we were earlier, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's not a
Oh,
British
I
thing.
gotcha.
But
Yeah.
if we were earlier, I would think maybe it was.
Yes. Kind of like the
Yeah,
Tea Party. Yeah.
kind of like the Tea Party, the
Okay.
Boston Eggnog Party, which is they're lucky they haven't invited me yet. The
You know
game
the
over.
eggnog party hates to see me coming.
Yeah, bad day to be some nog.
But yeah, so this takes place in West Point, New York. Does that make you think of anything?
Uh, that's the military. Like, is that the premier army camp or something like that?
It is the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. It's
Cool.
like, yeah, big, lot of history there. Obviously, it was around in the 1820s. Big deal in the military. So, what happened is that the superintendent of West Point at the time was named Colonel Sylvanus Thayer. What a name! Especially seeing as like Sylvanus, I think, is Roman. It's like a Roman god of nature or something like that.
Googling it.
He was known as the father of West Point.
The God of the Woods.
God of the Woods. Okay. I was close. I was close.
Huh.
Thank you, Smite. Uh but he had a very strict discipline. He banned alcohol, gambling, and pretty much anything outside of what would be considered orderly. However, they were having a Christmas party. And the cadets, so this is a bunch of like new people at the academy. The cadets traditionally celebrated Christmas with eggnog mixed with rum or whiskey, but Thayer's band made that something they weren't allowed to do. And many of the cadets were already really unhappy with his harsh rules and the rigid structure. And you know, like those moments where like tension is building and you know that there's going to be a break, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what they do is they create a plan to smuggle in some whiskey to spike the eggnog. So, December 22nd through the 23rd, so the 2 days leading up to the Christmas Eve party, cadets William A. Worthington and Samuel Roberts are believed to have arranged to get alcohol from local taverns. They worked with someone else named Private James Dugan, who is a civilian bartender or a supplier from Martin's Tavern and North's Tavern located near the academy. They successfully smuggled 2 gallons of whiskey into the barracks, hidden in the cadet rooms. Other cadets also contributed money and enthusiasm, turning it into a campus wide operation.
Man, I love this.
So, around 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve, cadets gather in multiple rooms in the North Barracks, most notably room 5 and 33, and they begin mixing their contraband whiskey with milk, eggs, and sugar, creating the fateful eggnog. Cadets including Jefferson Davis, Benny Havens, and John Archibald were reportedly present in or near the festivities. Jefferson Davis is a name that we probably recognize much more than the other two.
Yeah. Some military leader in the Civil War.
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
so. So, singing, toasts, and laughter soon began to escalate. Other cadets heard the noise and joined in. Then, on the early morning, about 2 a.m., Christmas Day, the riots erupt. Captain Ethan Allen Hitchcock, the officer in charge of the night, was awakened by the commotion, and so he went to investigate and found all of the cadets, like, smashed. Like, and he sees broken furniture, hears loud singing, and is like, this is the opposite of order. And so he tries calming things down, but him showing up only agitated them more. And so some cadets got hostile. They threatened him. They threw bottles, dishes, and logs at him and the other officers. They broke doors and they broke windows throughout the barracks. Lieutenant William A. Thornton also arrived to help restore order, but was met with resistance. By 4 a.m., the situation had developed into full chaos, later described as a night of drunken anarchy. So other officers were roused and sent to contain the riot. Several cadets attempted to rally others to fight back. They were even singing, like yelling out, "Get your muskets." Like they were ready to mutiny.
Wild.
There was reported gunfire, but almost all of it, to the best of knowledge, were warning shots by like officers, essentially. And eventually order was restored and they took control of the barracks again and they arrested the intoxicated cadets. The riot left broken windows, smashed furniture, and wrecked rooms in its wake. A total of 90 cadets were implicated in the riot.
Wild.
After the investigation, 19 of them were court-martialed.
Man,
Go ahead.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff around the phrase "boys will be boys," and a lot of it's fair. But I feel like this is like the best usage, the best possible connotation of the idea that boys will be boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all about it. I love that.
Oh yeah. Charges that they were court-martialed on included mutiny, disorderly conduct, insubordination. Jefferson Davis was one of the ones implicated, but he was not court-martialed. He was ill at the time and not directly involved in the violence.
By the way, future president of the Confederacy.
Okay, so he should have been court-martialed.
Yeah, would save some trouble later.
Punishments ranged from expulsion to reprimands, depending on their involvement in the whole ordeal. And Superintendent Thayer used this as justification to make discipline even harsher.
Man. It makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common thing, but
the event became infamous as either what?
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Yeah. The event became infamous as either the Eggnog Riot or the Grog Mutiny. Those are the two names. It remains one of the most famous incidents of student rebellion in U.S. military history. West Point now embraces the tale as a quirky part of its heritage. But alcohol is still strictly controlled on campus.
That's fair. I mean, they were waiting for like that professor to retire, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, fun part of our history."
Yeah,
that was cool.
I go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just curious if one of those cadets ended up being like a president at some point, and that helps.
That would help a lot. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the main story of the mutiny. I need to see really quick if I wrote this down. Okay. Yeah. The riot eggnog was estimated to be 30% alcohol by volume, which is crazy. Like for a drink like eggnog. Like that's like that's whiskey numbers, I think.
Yeah. I hit 17 and I tap out.
Yeah. More of like a 6 guy. So that's the Eggnog Riot.
Love that.
The next thing that I have, there's not a lot of other fun history between then and now. Like eggnog was already fairly established. So I have 2 more things for you that are factual, and then I have a little game really quick.
Okay. Is it eggnog?
Huh? Is it eggnog?
It's eggnog.
I tried to do that. I couldn't find a ton of like eggnog things that didn't make a lot of sense. So this first thing isn't, I said 2 things that are kind of factual. This is not really factual. The modern eggnog debate.
Okay.
So store-bought eggnog, according to FDA rules, just has to be at least 1% egg. And so eggnog purists refer to most store-bought eggnogs as either milk nog or egg-flavored nog.
I like milk nog.
I like milk nog too.
Yeah.
I would be interested to try eggnog, but I love the whole 1% thing. So that is one of the big modern debates around eggnog is store-bought versus homemade. Over the past handful of years, store-bought eggnog sales have actually dropped pretty drastically. Since the 60s, they've dropped, I think, 50% since the 60s. Interesting to me. You know, when you make it yourself, when it's done the quote-unquote right way, there is obviously the concern of salmonella. That's one of the things that people debate about. And then there are a bunch of people who just really don't think it tastes good. I don't know what the statistics are, but there was like a crazy amount of Americans who have never had eggnog, or at least have a very small amount of eggnog. Actually, we're going to get to that. That's part of the game.
Love it.
Yeah, so I say the modern eggnog debate I wasn't going to debate with you. I just wanted to point out that a lot of eggnog purists exist, and they don't
That's
like the
great.
store-bought stuff.
Sure. Like, it's good for them.
Yeah, I like the store-bought stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, I haven't
Hey,
tried homemade, so I can't say anything to that.
if you're an eggnog purist, come to my house, make me some eggnog. I would love to try your special, or send me a recipe, really. I would love to try your special recipe and see if it is what convinces me. Leave your special recipe in the comments, send us the link, whatever. I would love to try your recipe. I'm sure that it's better than the one that I tried.
Send it to us
Yeah.
at nocatspod@gmail.com. We'll
Yeah,
make it and do a taste testing live.
that's true. We would do that. We'll meet up in person for this episode. The next time we're going to see each other is probably around Christmas, is my assumption.
Potentially. Um, so yeah, that's the modern debate. There's some
What?
regional variances to eggnog.
Okay.
So these are some of the common regional variances. In the American South, instead of using like whiskey or sherry or rum, they use bourbon,
Okay.
which the difference between bourbon and rum is there and it is valid, but it's so minimal to someone like me who doesn't like either of them that they're essentially the same thing made in different places. Puerto Rico calls it coquito, which means little coconut, and they use coconut milk mixed with rum.
Okay.
Mexico makes rum popo, which was developed in Santa Clara. It uses Mexican cinnamon and rum or grain alcohol, which is like Everclear. Wild.
Interesting.
Yeah. Peru has Biblia con Pisco, which uses a Peruvian pomace brandy called Pisco.
Let's go.
Germany has two. One of them is Biernog or Biersuppe.
Beer soup.
Yeah, beer soup. And then they have Ear Punch or Air Punch. It's EIRPUNSCH, which is white wine, eggs, sugar, cloves, tea, lemon or lime juice, and cinnamon.
I hope it helps with their colds, I guess.
And then Iceland serves it similar to how they did in the colonial days of America. They serve it hot as a dessert, but it's very similar recipe to what we have.
Yeah.
So those are the regional variances.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, yeah, I think it is. It's just fun to
Yeah.
see the things like that. That like cultures everywhere have been like, you know what, we should put eggs in milk and drink it.
It's crazy. It's like evolution and crabs.
Yeah,
All of culinary knowledge and expertise points like everywhere, every place, it leads us back to eggnog.
it kind of does. That and fried cheese.
So true.
So true. Almost every single culture has some kind of fried cheese dish. Even ancient Rome had fried ricotta, and I love it.
Good. Good. Good for
So
them.
now we're going to play a quick game. It's just a
Sure.
handful of questions. This is eggnog true or false.
Okay. I'm ready.
So true or false, the average American drinks 1 cup of eggnog a year. So like if you average it out, it would be the average of each American consuming 1 cup.
I'll say true.
It is false. It is actually
Yeah.
quite a bit less than that.
Yeah, that's sad. I
Yeah.
was really hopeful that those enthusiasts were like carrying us.
I was really hoping I was carrying us.
I have a rule that it's to help me slow down. The rule is that each month of eggnog season, which is October, technically through December, but if you go early in January, you can like snag the last one or whatever. I get to have a half gallon each month.
Mm,
So I'm gonna have 2 gallons of eggnog this year,
mm.
and I was hopeful that I was helping. But even, I guess even in my household, I'm like the only one that's going to have any, which means I'm only having 2/3 of it. Like our household is only having 2/3 of a gallon apiece.
Yeah.
So sad day.
Sad day. Okay, true or false? Wisconsin hosts an annual eggnog chugging contest.
True.
That is true. It's in a
If,
different city every year, and they call it a
nice.
slightly different name. The belief, my understanding, is that they may actually have multiple every year.
Okay, I love
But
that.
yeah,
If you had been like, False. Actually, it's in Montana. I would have driven to your house and beat you up. So,
Uh, well, fair enough. I think that sounds like a very Wisconsin thing to do, though. Like, it really
yeah,
does.
yeah. Nog
True or
heads.
false? Every year, 12 Americans go to the ER for eggnog-related incidents.
False.
That is true.
What a what a gift of a way to die.
Oh, man.
I believe that's true.
I could not find it anywhere. That is false. There
Man,
are vegan
nice.
versions, but not specifically using mashed bananas and oat water.
That's fair. Even though those are good common replacements.
Yeah. True or false? Colonial Americans sometimes used a red hot poker to give an eggnog extra flavor.
Sure. Why not? I don't think it worked, but I would believe they tried it.
That is true. It was
Yeah.
common enough that it's been written down for us.
Great.
Yeah. True or false? Hidden Valley released a ranch nog kit at one point.
False.
It is true.
Yeah. I just wanted to believe.
True or false? Screwball has made a peanut butter eggnog whiskey.
I'm going to say false.
That is true.
I knew it was
Uh,
true, but I thought he won't go true twice in a row with these things.
I originally at first I was like, okay, so false, true, false, true. Oh, I can't do that. And then the final one. I already said this one. Never mind.
No, what is it?
It was the Riot eggnog was estimated to be 20% alcohol content.
False.
It was 30. Yeah. So this has been Eggnog, a journey through the
Yeah.
years. Actually, almost 1,000 years to be exact, which is crazy to think about. And how we got the drink that we both love so dearly. Do you have any further comments, questions, statements regarding eggnog?
No. I do love eggnog. I think this was a fun thing to bring up. Great, great topic. Yeah, some real idiots who thought, man, I
We should
need.
start a podcast.
That's funny. No, I am sick. I can't fathom a type of being sick. Like like I have a stomach bug. I don't want thick milk. I'm all congested. I do not want thick milk.
Wasn't that
Tell you
Alex's
what,
nickname at one point?
I think so. I do want Alec if I'm congested. But if I like so I guess that's not entirely true. Like addiction is a disease and my addiction is eggnog and I do want thick milk. So it's a little tricky in some scenarios, I
I feel
suppose.
the
But
need. The need for eggnog.
the need for nog.
The need for omelet drink.
Some real freaks like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I've got nothing else. I appreciate it. I love to hear about. Honestly, I'm surprised that there hasn't been like. I'm surprised that Lin Manuel Miranda hasn't written a musical about the Eggnog Riot. Because like it is.
no, there's potential there for like something, like maybe
Yeah.
like a Christmas special, like a some
Oh, for
TV
sure.
show, like okay, Psych, for example, doing a Christmas
Mm,
special where it's like they go back in time and are part of that, or it's
yeah.
like a nightmare that Sean has or something. I could see
I
something like that.
a Ken Burns documentary. Like
Yeah,
there's so much potential there.
I'm surprised Roger Lemming didn't teach us about this.
Yeah. Come on, Raj.
That's like the type of thing he would love to tell us about. Actually, I think.
It's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't take a push. Did you take a push?
I did take a push.
Okay. Well, that was your chance.
It was a fun class, genuinely.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you. I hope that you have enjoyed yourself a glass of eggnog while taking part in us enjoying a glass of eggnog while we talk about how we got nogs of eggnog. I should have done it in a wooden cup. Ah, anyways, thank you
Next
for hanging
time.
out with us. Yeah, next time. Thank you for hanging out with us. I want to say a couple other thank yous really quick. I want to say thank you to Adam Ward and Jared Scrother for our intro and outro music. And thank you to Jacob Casey as well for being in on that mess every once in a while. Thank you to you guys who are consistently with us. Garrett, Jake, probably Caleb, Hayden. I'm not naming anymore, not because I don't think you exist. I know you exist.
Brayton.
Yeah, Brayton. I haven't heard from you in a minute. where you been, man? He will probably have reached out by the time this comes out. But anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you to everybody who's been a part of it. Thank you, DJ, for letting me teach you about this. And whatever you're celebrating, have a good one.
Amen and amen. Next week, probably, we'll be kicking off again with our Christmas role-playing game. We really kind of hoard all of our role-playing stuff to one part of the year, especially when we're like recording without like recording in November. It kind of feels insane, but that's all right. Maybe next year there'll be more of it. Who knows? Maybe we'll shift.
One of these years, it'll just be, oops, all role-playing.
Whoops, that's funny. Andrew found a role-playing. But yeah, so that's what we'll be doing next week, and I will be leading that. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll get to see the three cousins again if you've been watching in the past. It'll be a lot of fun. Probably. Could suck. Who knows? There's only one way to find out, and that's to watch the whole video and like and subscribe. If you don't do those things, you'll never find out. As always, like Gage said, thank you guys so much. We do appreciate that we get to do this podcast for you guys, with you guys, of you guys, I don't know. But as always, we insist that if our thanks aren't enough, we get it, we understand, mostly, right? Like, keep it to yourself. But please do thank yourselves. See you later.